Welcome to Afra's Artifacts, where we do some archaeology of our own and dig into the queer side of Star Wars. I'm your host, Alia Morgaine, and it's so great to have you here. Well, today we're continuing our discussion of the Backup Plan short story by Anne Toole in the Empire Strikes Back from a Certain Point of View short story anthology. And I realized there's a lot to talk about in today's video, so I'm going to extend this short story to actually 4 weeks, so there'll be 2 more weeks worth of videos on this short story. So last week we talked about Ela Radodan, an Imperial officer who happens to be a lesbian, and this week we are talking about Tal Veridian, her lover, who is a sort of a rebel. She doesn't like the Empire, calls them imps. She is not formally affiliated with the rebellion, but she certainly has no love for the Empire and is not happy with the situation going down in Cloud City right now. So, what is going down in Cloud City? I'll reiterate that this story takes place a couple days after Lando has left Cloud City. The Empire's taken over. They're shipping miners off to other planets. Things are bad. Things look real bad. People are being kidnapped. It's craziness. So, Tal is not very happy with this whole situation. And a quick description of her physical characteristics. She is a woman with brown eyes, her hair tightly framing her face. And then we get into descriptions that are around her personality, her past, her experiences, her background. So it says, and this is kind of cool, it surprised me, but it says, ever since the day he'd plucked her, he being Lando, ever since the day he'd plucked her from that rickety merchant vessel, happy to find someone who looked like him, who wasn't family, he always said. Her family, well, let's just say she'd been in the market for a new one. And that's what she'd found, working with Lando on Cloud City. She considered herself his second in command. Interesting. But good luck getting him to admit it. They weren't perfect, but they had each other's backs. So apparently she works really closely with Lando, which I found fascinating. And she has this interesting backstory of not really having a blood family. So she has a found family. And I always love the plot device of having a found family in stories. Because I do have a blood family that I'm fairly close with. But I also have a found family that means so, so much to me. And I think found family can sometimes mean a lot more than a blood family. And as can be seen in Rise of Skywalker, for instance. So continuing on with the story, though. It says, Tal didn't dare breathe a sigh of relief. Lando's decision to liberate the princess had not included the imps capturing their people. She needed information, she needed help, and most of all, she needed a plan. She's trying to figure out what to do. The miners are being rounded up and kidnapped, and she's like, oh my gosh, we have to figure out something to save these people. And it goes on to describe her as the orphan who'd wandered the galaxy till she found a family to take her in. And now that family was being shipped off who knows where. So again, the miners are under control of the imps now, and it's looking bad. So then we get to a conversation she's having with Kieran and Baldu. And we'll be talking about Kieran in the video 2 weeks from now. Kieran is non-binary, and I'm excited to talk about them in a future video. So, to Kieran and Baldu, Tal says, well, these are 2 of her friends who are mechanics. Tal says, while you're here doing your job, they're kidnapping the rest of us. You heard Lando hightailed it out of here, right? The imps are taking over the mines from us and targeting workers, retaliating to punish Cloud City for what Lando did. I can't stand by and watch this. I knew what he was planning. I'm just as much the fool. Now, I don't know if she's upset with Lando for going back on his deal with the Empire by freeing Leia and Chewie, or if she is upset with Lando for making a deal with the Empire to begin with. So she's upset with Lando for one of those two reasons. It seems more like she's upset with him for going back on the deal, but would you really expect, if he hadn't gone back on the deal, for the Empire to not do what they're doing at this point? I feel like they would have taken over regardless of what Lando had done post making the deal with the Empire. So, the story itself, Tal, Kieran, and Bowdo end up donning mining guild clothes, and they get caught by the Imperials. They get thrown in a ship full of miners that's to be sent away from Bespin, and then their ship supposedly blows up, courtesy of Ela Radodan from last week's video. But Tal's lover Ela has a trick up her sleeve, and the ship actually doesn't get blown up. It's all sort of an illusion to trick Ela's superior officer Kilos into thinking that the miners are all dead. But in fact, Tal, Kieran, and Bowdo survive as heroes. And it's pretty wonderful that they were able to go on and be heroes, having saved the miners in that ship to be sent off to save them from a fate worse than death, working for the Imperials in mines. So next week we're going to talk about Tal and Ela's actual relationship, how they interact with each other, what they say to each other that's sweet and sexy, and just how they are with each other. And I'm really excited about that video. But this week I just wanted to give you a rundown on Tal Veridian, who she is, what her background is, and what the story is, what they're dealing with on Cloud City. So please comment down below what you think about Tal Veridian, what you think about the potential of this relationship between a theoretical rebel and an Imperial officer. And look forward to next Sunday at 6 p.m. Central, learning more about Ela and Tal's actual relationship. So I'm excited about that. So remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter at @AliaMorgain, and peruse my blog at thestarwarsreview.blogspot.com. May the Force be with you.